A warm welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. Do not forget to subscribe. In today's video, we're going to be comparing two fallout removers, the DIY Detail Iron Remover product and the BILT HAMBER KORROSOL fallout remover. The same type of products, both of them are paintwork decontamination products primarily, but they can be used to decontaminate fallout on wheels as well. So they're similar. They have another one called Auto Wheels, which is a wheel cleaner fallout remover, but these are a better comparison. Okay, let's move on and compare price of these two products before we get started. So the DIY Detail product cost me £18.95 for 473ml, which translates up to a price per litre of £40.06, approximately per litre. The BILT HAMBER product is available in a litre in its minimum size, and it costs £14.95 per litre. So £40 6p versus £14.95. I'm really interested in that price point because obviously there's a big difference, okay? There's a big difference. And I'm interested when brands kind of do their market research and they're DIY bringing this product over to the UK, and this is kind of regarded as the best product in the UK, and they must look at this and think, does that mean they think their product is 2.5 times better than the KORROSOL? Which it could be, it's possible. You can get a lot of variation in fallout remover performance. The active ingredient in the fallout remover that dissolves the oxide layer of ferrous components is the thioglycolic acid. Thioglycolic acid, the TGA, it's a sodium-based cleaner that reacts with the iron oxide, the Fe2O3, and turns it into iron thioglycolic oxide, which is that purple powder which is water soluble and dissolves. So when it reacts and goes purple, it dissolves, so you get a purple bleed with these products. The speed of the reaction is an indicator of the amount of the thioglycolic oxide present in the product. A stronger, faster purple reaction with these type of products is indicative of better performance, because the purple is rushed turning to a different oxide where it dissolves in water. So the more purple and the quicker purple it goes, the better performance you're getting, which we'll be testing in a second. There's also surfactants mixed in with these, so they clean the surface as well. Now, we'll look at bulk prices. The DIY Detail product costs £99.95 roughly in the UK for a US gallon, which is about 3.78 litres. That gives you a translated price of £132 for 5 litres roughly. The BILT HAMBER product costs £59.95 for 5 litres. That price isn't the best on the market. That's a really strong price. That price can be beaten. What's the absolute cheapest you can get 5 litres of fallout remover for? Well, I've seen CarChem sell it 5 litres of fallout remover for £14 in their Black Friday sale. That's the cheapest I've ever seen it. And that CarChem fallout remover is good. It's not as good as that, but it's pretty good. It's good for the price. You'd think it would be terrible for £14, but it's not. The difference in quality for these products is usually the amount of active ingredients. Some fallout removers, they're so strong you can water them down 3 times with water and they're still effective. Other ones, they're cheaper, because they've already been watered down. So there's less of that TGA in there and they don't react as quick. John, this is unfair because DIY needs to be imported from Canada, where these guys are, or America. So there's a cost involved, so it's going to be more expensive. Well, KORROSOL was available from Carzilla in Canada. I couldn't find it in America, funny enough. Don't know why. Maybe it's on its way or something. But anyway, DIY Detail from Carzilla is £27.99 for 473ml, which gives a rough price of £59.17 per litre, doesn't it, if you translate that up? Double it and then add a little bit more. So £59. The BILT HAMBER product from Carzilla, Canadian dollar, not £59. Carzilla sell the litre of BILT HAMBER product and it's 38.99 Canadian dollars. So its price per litre is still cheaper than the DIY Detail. The fact that this is available in a litre and that comes in 500ml favours that slightly, but in layman's terms, it doesn't really matter from a price comparison point of view. So there's all your price comparison data that some of you will tell me you're not interested in, but a review has to give it. If it doesn't give it, is it a review? Maybe I could go and give you some more price comparisons. Perhaps I should. I will also say that out of all of the product fallout removers listed on Into Detailing and Clean Your Car, this is the most expensive when I search in price high order. It's the most expensive fallout remover I think I've ever seen at that price per litre. Okay, you might find some, if you go look, you know, you might find some alternative ones that are very expensive as well. Okay, the next thing, guys, performance. Now, I'm going to show you, first of all, an overlay of this, 20 squirts of this, roughly, being sprayed onto one of my Porsche alloys, and 20 squirts of this being sprayed onto one of my Porsche alloys. And I'll put this one here, and I'll put that one there. And you can compare the reaction. I might have to speed them both up to the same thing by ×3 or whatever, and we'll leave them there for 5 minutes, and you can see the difference in reaction. Okay, let's just run that. But a summary of that is that the BILT HAMBER product Korrosol reacts a lot faster and a lot more vivid and deep purple than the DIY detail product when sprayed on that front Porsche alloy. You know, one's a driver's side, one's a passenger side. So if it may, some of you say it's invalid because one gets more dirt than the other one. It's valid enough for me, but that was done on the passenger side. That was done on the driver's side, I think. Yeah. The next thing, when we rinse them off, the BILT HAMBER product to me looks like the alloy wheel is a little bit cleaner. More of the dirt film is coming off under low pressure rinse than the DIY detail side. When we agitate both products with a brush, the Korrosol product seems more surfactant rich to me. You know, you see a sort of breaking out of foam and stuff, which isn't essentially a performance measure, but it just seems more rich in surfactants. Some other observations, the DIY detail product is thinner than the BILT HAMBER product, and it runs more off of the alloy wheel. The BILT HAMBER product, I think after 3.5 minutes had probably reached its maximum, and it does look like it's going to dry quicker than the DIY detail product. So there was one thing that the DIY detail product seemed quite good at, not drying out, but much slower reaction. And ultimately, when I've gone through and cleaned the wheels, even though neither of these are dedicated wheel cleaner fallout removers, this wheel was cleaner than that one. There was little patches left of dirt, which I could have got. I'd just have to go back and get them, but I didn't get them on that side, which indicates to me the product might be helping me clean those wheels a little bit. The next test I did is just take the same alloy wheel and spray 10 sprays of this on the left side, you know, and 10 sprays of this on the right side, so literally spraying away from each other. So they're both side by side and reacting. And when I did that, the difference in results was pretty shocking, actually. This stuff lights the alloy wheel up so quickly on the Golf. And this stuff, by the time this is sort of all gone rich and purple, this stuff is only just starting to get going. And even if you leave it longer, it doesn't seem to get going beyond that. And then when you rinse off as well, this side is cleaner under low pressure rinse than this side again. So performance wise, for me, there was a big difference between the two products. The Korrosol looks a lot more richer in thioglycolic acid. The reaction is stronger, and it seems perhaps to be slightly surfactant richer as well, and a thicker, slightly more viscous chemical than the DIY detail product. Okay, the label and bottle are better on this side. The instructions are more in-depth and the product's cheaper. We've already covered that. So at this stage, I'm going to declare that the Korrosol for me is a better product than the DIY detail. Very tough test for this DIY detail, and I will do some more comparisons against this for other products because it's a tough test, and I'm not sure if there's any product on the market that will outreact this and outperform this and provide you more value than this. Indeed, I think you could probably water this product, this BILT HAMBER product, down by half, so you could get 2 litres of it for that 1 litre. and it will still be more powerful, more reactive than most fallout removers, including the DIY detail, in my opinion. So there's the bread and butter of this. John, you're biased towards BILT Hamber. I think they're one of the best brands out there, and their products are really affordable and really powerful. And that's what we're supposed to be recommending. You can repeat this test if you feel that these results are invalid. You do that test where you're spraying them on one half of the alloy and one on the other, or one on one wheel, one on the other, and just look at the reactivity and look at the end results, and you'll see the same thing, unfortunately. What do I feel about the DIY detail product? I like the fact it doesn't dry out. That's one positive from it. I think the instructions are good. Again, with DIY detail, the biggest selling point for me is the brand's social media presence and the work they're doing. And I think that is fantastic. I really do think it's fantastic, and it drives sales. It creates interest. You can showcase your knowledge. You can showcase your passion. A lot of brands aren't able to do that and just talk freely about detailing. So only certain brands can do that, which is a real asset. And that's worth something, and it really is. But beyond that, okay, so that's the positives of the DIY kind of model and what they do as a business. The negatives for me are that this price thing up here, it's way off. You've got to do better market research for me. You've got to do better market research and look at this and be competitive. You don't have to beat this. It's going to be tough, but you've got to be competitive. And again, my criticism historically of DIY detail products is they're not 10% or 20% better, more expensive price-wise. They're always 2 to 3 times, or I have to be careful, you know, with some of the things we've tested, they've been 2 to 3 times that cost comparatively of other products. And when it's that, I feel that you lose the value proposition. Now, these are businesses. Businesses are there to give you as a customer value. A business transaction where you go and buy a product, you're giving the company money, they're giving you a product which solves a problem for you, but also gives you real value. The one perk we have is that the detailing industry is flooded with brands, and there's a new brand starting every week. Literally a new brand starting every week. So the one advantage for us of all this confusion, all this noise in the marketplace, is being able to get value. And if you're not offering value as a brand, and there's arguments why you don't want to be the cheapest, and I get it. You might not be able to be the cheapest. I get it. But if you're not offering value, you've got to offer some real performance. And this product, for me, this DIY detail product as a fallout remover, in my opinion, is below average. And I've tested a lot of them. It's very, very slow to react. And I've said it before, and people don't like me saying it, but American chemicals, like cleaning chemicals, surfactants, fallout removers are a bit of an oddball category, but they're not as concentrated in the active ingredients as European, UK, German, maybe even Korean products. The active ingredients are higher. And American surfactants, if they're going to match the cleaning power of some of these European and UK products, they do it by using caustic materials. Not exclusively, because there's hundreds and hundreds of American brands, but generally if an American surfactant cleans well, it's loaded with sodium hydroxide or some sort of sodium based caustic material, you know. So why is this DIY detail product so expensive? And I can't answer that. Can't answer it. There's advantages. I was listening to a video that DIY detail were doing with Pan the organizer. Interesting video on kind of the whole subject of kind of contract, what's the words? Contract blending versus white labeling and all that sort of stuff and the differences. But what those discussions do and what brands can't do is they can't tell you the disadvantages of the way they're doing it. And there are disadvantages to this kind of outsourcing this operation. I'll tell you what I think the advantages are, is the advantages of that model that Pan and Ivan and the DIY guys are using, is if you outsource all of that stuff, the formulation, the website, procurement, customer service, distribution, you know, everything. Customer support, I've said that. If you outsource it all to someone else, that allows you as a business to forget about all of that. You're not dealing with customers, you're not dealing with technical product queries, you're not dealing with distribution issues, whatever, which is great, which allows you to focus on things like social media, which are really critical. And guys like Pan and Ivan, you know, can do a great job of building those socials and building the business. That's an advantage, isn't it? The disadvantage is all those things that you've outsourced. They're not being outsourced at cost. They're being outsourced at a profit by another organisation. So all of those things I've just mentioned, you're having to pay as a profitable service. So Ivan's companies that are providing those services are not doing it for cost. They're doing it at a profit. And that makes it harder for brands that have outsourced everything to be compatible. What's the word? Not compatible. To be competitive with price. So there's your downside of this, you know, contract label blending thing. And it's never said. It's never said. And they're not going to tell you that, with all due respect. They're not going to tell you the downsides because it's not in their interests to tell you the downside. And that's the difference between a brand and a reviewer. Okay? I'm not a brand. I'm a reviewer. Doesn't mean that all brands are evil. But if you work in any business that involves sales, you are not going to tell your customers the 100% truth of everything, because truth does not equal sales. That is a fundamental truth. £40 versus $14.95. The reaction of the product is a fundamental truth of the TGA portion. And you can test that for yourselves. So I've covered everything I need to, guys, in this video. In this video, the BILT Hamber product is by far and away a much better proposition. Much better from performance-wise, from packaging, from instructions, but also from price. And the thing here about this brand, because they buy raw materials up, because they provide their own support, because they formulate, because they have their own website, you know, and the products are distributed out of their own warehouse, they can sell it to you for £14.95 a litre. So that's the disadvantage of the DIY detail model, okay? If I'm wrong, put that in the comments. But yes, maybe one day DIY detail will get to the size where they can do this and they can get those prices down and be competitive. They're not there at the moment. I will say, Rome wasn't built in a day, so no brand, it's very difficult for a brand to start up and to be able to get to that stage where you can compete with the top products. So it might be a work in progress. But, you know, for the DIY detail guys, if you're listening, go and buy a litre of that. Test what I've just tested and you'll see exactly what I've just said. Squeeze your product and it will leak. These Tolco sprayer are problematic. They are problematic. I know brands that have moved away from these sprayers. They seem to work well with the abrasive, but they're prone to failure and they leak with liquid chemicals. So yeah, I would go long term. I would look at Vela triggers, or these triggers in black are pretty solid. You don't see them so much in America. I think they're more of a European thing. They atomise a lot, which you might not always like for like wheel cleaners and stuff, but for detail sprays, glass cleaners, that's quite good. Anyway, you know me, I can ramble for ages. Hope this has been fair. Put in the video comments what you feel, and adios, Doug.